Hello, this is a video of Mr. Kazmarowski going over the solutions to the practice quiz 2.1 to 2.4. Pay close attention to everything I do and say, and you can be really successful on the quiz you take coming up. All right, so number one says, does the table represent a function or relation? In a function, only x's can only have one y partner. And right here in this problem, we have this -2 value has two different y values. So right here, this one goes to the 2 and to the 8. This is just a relation. Since input -2 has two outputs. Inputs can only have one output for it to be a function. Input -2 has two outputs. It goes to 2 and the 8. Number 2, graphically, a function has to pass the vertical line test. So we have to think of a bunch of vertical lines coming across this, and they only touch the graph once. If a vertical line would touch twice, it would fail to be a function and it would be a relation. But this one is a function. Explanation, it passes the vertical line test. So those are questions 1 and 2. All right, then we jump in and we talk about some slope. All right, I see a couple of students that are flipping their slope calculations, but it's always y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to calculate this, and then if the slopes are the same, they'll be parallel. If the slopes are opposite reciprocals, they'll be perpendicular. And if the slopes are just two different values, it'll just be neither, if they're not equal or opposite reciprocals. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So your y's are 7 and 8. So you gotta do 7 minus 8. Your x's are 0 and 5, so you have to do 0 minus 5. Slope always sets up as a subtraction. You can do chop slash and chop chop to make it addition. 7 minus 8 is -1 to get the rise. And 0 minus 5 is -5. If you get a double negative like this, it's a positive slope. So that is a slope of 1/5. Line 2, x1, y1, x2, y2. So -3 minus -2. Those are your y values. And 8 minus 3 are your x values. I would do a little chop right here and make that -1. 8 minus 3 is +5. All right, so here are the two slopes, 1/5 and -1/5. These lines aren't parallel since the slopes aren't equal. They're not opposite reciprocals, so they're not perpendicular. This would be a neither judgment. Okay, now you'll be able to use your notes. You can use your notes on this. You can use your notes on the quiz itself coming up. All right, number 4. We are asked to graph, and it's already in slope-intercept form. So we can say that the slope is -4 over 1, and the b value, or y-intercept, is -3. So I'd go down 3 units, 1, 2, 3, put a dot right there, and then I would go down 4 and to the right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 1. And I don't do that from 0, 0. I do that from the intercept. And I could actually go up 4, 2, 3, 4, and backwards 1. So those would be 3 points on the line. Do my best to connect them up. All right, so show me your dots. If your line isn't perfect, don't worry about it. But your intercept and your slope should be in there. Number 5, I would manipulate this one and move this x term over to the other side, and you'd have y equals +1/3 x minus 5. And here is your slope, here is your y-intercept. So this has a -5 y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down there. And then it rises 1 as it runs 1, 2, 3. Rises 1 as it runs 3. Notice I'm doing the slope walk from those intercepts, or from that one y-intercept. Okay. So those are a couple of quick graphs using slope-intercept form. And that's what you're going to do there. Slope and intercept. Now, the last part of the quiz is writing equations for lines. So this is where we have to take and whatever given information we have to turn it into a slope and a y-intercept. Number 6, the most peaceful thing they could tell us, the slope and the y-intercept. Done. Okay? So if they don't tell us those two pieces of information, we have to create them. So number 7, we're going to have to create the slope and the y-intercept because they don't tell us either one. But if they give us 2 points, we can go back and the same work we did earlier when we were trying to see if those lines were parallel, perpendicular, or neither. We're going to have to do our slope work. Get our slope first. So we're going to do 1 minus 5 and 4 minus 2. Subtract your y's, subtract your x's. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So the slope here is negative 2. So now we have to manufacture the intercept. So to manufacture the intercept, we're going to use 1 point. I'm going to use the 2, 5 point. I'm going to use this first one. And remembering y equals mx plus b is our generic. So we're going to put the 5 in for y, put the negative 2 that we just calculated in for slope, then put the positive 2, which is our x, and figure out what b is. So we're going to have to multiply, and then we're going to have to add or subtract. In this case, add. Add 4, add 4. Our intercept is 9. So our final answer here, here's our slope, here's our b value. So y equals negative 2x plus 9. Now we're done. We went in there and we took that slope and we turned it into our intercept. Okay, we took the 2 points, turned them into the slope, took the slope and 1 point, turned it into the intercept, and then we had all the information we needed. And then the last 2 questions kind of fall into the same category as 6 and 7. They're giving us information, we have to turn it into the information that we need. So in number 8, we have to find a line parallel to y equals 2x plus 4. So parallel to is just a sneaky way to tell us what slope to use. And parallel lines have the same slope. So this slope of 2, that's our slope we're going to use. Now we have this 1 point, this x and y. We have to turn this into an intercept now. So we're going to use y equals mx plus b again. We're going to say negative 3 is our y, 2 is our slope, positive 3 is our x. Let's figure out what our b value is. Negative 3 is equal to 6 plus b. Subtract 6 from both sides. Negative 9 is our b value. So your final answer would be y is equal to 2x minus 9. Because this was our slope. They hid that slope on us a little bit. We had to go into that equation and find it. And we did. We saw it was 2. We grabbed it and used it. All right, number 9 switches to perpendicular. Perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to sneak into here. It tells me a slope of 4, but I don't use that because it's not parallel. I need to take that 4 and flip it over and change its sign. So the slope we need is negative 1/4. And now we're going to take this xy pair they tell us, and we're going to make the y-intercept out of it. So the slope of negative 1/4. And actually, you could, if you wanted to, you could start writing your line equation. We just don't know what to put after x yet. But we'll take the negative 3 equals negative 1/4 times 8. That's our x value. So the y and the m and the x plus b. We're going to figure out what b is here. Negative 3. Negative 1/4 times 8 is negative 2. Because 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. And negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And get negative 1 is equal to b. So now I have the end of my line equation. That would be the line that satisfies all the information in number 9. Okay, so you can use this practice quiz on the actual quiz. Some of the problems look really, really close, and good luck with it.